Practice show where we take a look at the best business practices from the best dental practices all over the world, and we have a crazy special week. We are out here at the Seattle Study Club Symposium 25th anniversary at the LaQuinta in Palm Springs, and I am surrounded by some of the best clinicians in the world. These three guys are amazing. You're not going to want to miss this, so do me a favor, hold on tight. We'll see you in a few seconds. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practice Show. We're out here at the Seattle Study Club Symposium 25th anniversary, spectacular event. We are on day 2. This is Tuesday at the LaQuinta in Palm Springs, and if you haven't been to Symposium, you got to come someday. It is the best clinicians in the world all in one place, and I got 3 of them here today. So thank you guys for being on, good friends of mine. And today we're going to be talking about the future of dentistry. And so I'd love for you guys to just introduce yourselves, tell everybody who you are, where you came from, what you do.
I'm Jeff Rouse. I'm a prosthodontist in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm-hmm. I'm Ricardo Mitrani, also a prosthodontist, a little bit souther. I'm from Mexico City.
I love the way you say that.
I got a rolling R in my name.
You really brought the Mexican act. I love it.
Well, this used to be Mexico at some point.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And I'm Christian Coachman from São Paulo, Brazil. I'm a dentist and developer of DSD.
Awesome. Jeff, before we were getting rolling, this is the end of the day. We're just kind of hanging out as we always do at this, have a few beers, connect with our friends. You had mentioned of all this time, you guys were talking about how old you are, how long you've been in dentistry. This is probably one of the most exciting times you've ever seen as a dentist. Can you explain that?
You know, being 35, it's hard for me to really look at the future.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm 55. I've been doing this 30 years now. I can't, 30 years I've been doing this, and I've luckily, since the beginning, I've had great mentors, and I have always had the opportunity to be around sort of where dentistry was going and what was cutting edge, and I cannot remember a more exciting time in dentistry than the last, say, 5 years. The new dentists getting out today have an opportunity to change people's lives, not only aesthetically, because we went through the 90s where everything, if you had a tooth, it needed a veneer. But now we can actually change them. We can change them from a health standpoint. We can change. The opportunities are so great right now. The challenge, honestly, we were talking about it. The challenge is how do they deal with debt, and how do they make choices as to the tools that they're going to have in their practice, and how do they learn how to treatment plan at a higher level? Because Christian's stuff today was phenomenal, but in order to implement it, you can't just do a picture of it. You got to practice at a much higher level. So what he's demanding of dentists is you got to get better to meet my software's requirements.
Right.
You can't be an average dentist and do what he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a huge strain on the new dentist, which I would find amazingly intoxicating, right? To have that opportunity. But
yeah.
So what I find is this kind of like, as I hear you out and I reflect upon, I pretty much feel like we're entering, this buffet in which you can only fit so much in a plate.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of food is just ridiculous. And everybody's, going for it and eating from the buffet, and yet everybody's eating different things. And so at the end of the day, their dining experience is different, and the process is different. So here we are, 2 prosthodontists, prosthodontist, technician, clinician from a family of 5 generations of dentists, and while we've, in principle, been trained relatively similarly, I mean, our focuses have been different till today that we're now here figuring out what are the strengths of each and how we can, help each other out. But for the young dentist who comes out fresh out of dental school, that he only has like a sprinkle here and there of information, there's so much stuff. So yes, I agree with Jeff. It's challenging that now.
I can imagine, just thinking right now, imagine a young student or a young dentist that just finished school, like last year, and somehow, by chance, was sitting today at the lectures yesterday. What would this young dentist be feeling by watching these amazing lectures? Staying here the whole week. And I'm trying to guess that probably this young person would be maybe excited with how cool the topics are.
Perhaps that's why there were so many young dentists in the audience.
Probably completely lost.
Everybody was 40
scared,
and above.
Even scared because my God, this is.
It can be intimidating.
A lot,
for
going
sure.
on, and there's a lot of pressure. Not only that, but you have pressure from corporate dentistry now. You have pressure.
Not understanding the business end of running a practice. Very few people do. Right.
And the dental schools I see that are falling behind. You have a gap between what we are seeing here to what you learn in dental school of at least 10, 15 years. It takes 10, 15 years for dental schools to catch up, with the information. And being 10 years, 10 years behind on the 80s was okay because things were changing much slower, Nowadays, you're 10 years behind, meaning that every year things change so fast that you're completely lost, So as clinicians, as you guys are top clinicians, I actually would like to ask you guys if you could, let's say one of your kids are in dental school, graduating this year, how would you build their career? How would you guide them? What would be the next step? First year out of school, what you would do? You would invest more, open a little office. You would work for somebody. You would start lecturing for a dental school, continue on dental school. What do you think? What would be the first advice? Pretend you're not a dentist.
Oh, if I'm not a dentist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so I think we could single out 2 very different routes that young dentists go at this point in time. They either because of debt, they join corporate dentistry, which is appealing initially, but then it's truly a demanding, and it's a very tough way to go. But yet, you choose to go deeper in debt and buy a practice. Mm-hmm. Now, in dental school, it doesn't matter which dental school they went. Maybe it was like super high education and they really feel comfortable about treatment planning, which I would have my doubts, but still, treatment planning and executing dentistry. But yet, nobody ever taught them to run a business. Mm-hmm. And being a dentist means you have to be able to run a business. And so on the one hand, corporate would take care of that part. You wouldn't have to struggle with that. But again, you would be working for somebody. Right. And you would be forced to do dentistry that maybe you would be 100% comfortable.
But is it a good path for the first couple of years and get experience, do a lot of stuff, prep a lot of teeth, extract,
Well, the interesting thing, the title of the weekend is a legacy tour, right? And a minute ago, I was just talking to someone about study clubs and the older members and are they accepting. I'm 55, done it 30 years, so I've got, 15 years left. My whole thing is giving back,
right?
All right? So there are a lot of dentists here who now their children are graduating. And they have to work, but the most valuable thing they do is actually to find friends around the country and actually come into their practice and watch. So if you were saying to me, what would I do if my child was graduating? I would find people that want to mentor them around the country. and actually take the time to say, can I come and spend time in your practice? And interestingly, while the initial reaction of a lot of people would be, oh, I'm not going to ask, that would be too much of an imposition. I mean, if I said, you know, I'd like my daughter to come down and spend time, I think you would feel honored.
Yeah.
You bet.
I mean,
You bet.
So there are people everywhere that would love to
It's
train.
a couple more years without making money.
Ricardo's rich, so his kid come out of school and he'll be in debt.
He does
Are you
very
kidding?
well. No, but I think you're talking to the heartbeat of this whole thing, because all of us would do that, you know, and that's what's so cool about this community, is it's a special community where you do anything. You know, I called you right away. You're like, yeah, I'll help you, and I'm like, I didn't even know you.
Yeah.
You know, and Ricardo, you're the same way, and Jeff, you're the same way. But that's everybody.
I think a lot people don't take advantage of the idea that we want to mentor, we want to have our legacy could be passing it along to someone else, because we work in our own little offices usually. We're like all by ourselves. It's such a nice thing to actually have someone else in the office, right? And so even if you're in a community and you're a young dentist and you have to work corporate,
But if your dad is not part of Seattle Study Club.
No, but if your day off, don't go spend it watching, playing a video game or watching YouTube videos. Go call up somebody in the community and say, I'd love to come and watch you practice.
Finding a mentor is the shortcut. Yeah, definitely.
So, and then unfortunately, the price of education adds to it. But as I started, you are challenging us to be better dentists. And that's where it's headed. Everyone that stood on the stage for the last 2 days challenged you to become a better dentist. It is incredibly exciting, but you have to be better than we were in the past, or it's going to pass you right by.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. I mean, in the past, if you were okay, you could keep doing dentistry and be fine. And dentistry will leave you at this point.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, the toys that we have available today, I believe also get us to be a better clinicians, better operators than we were back when we went to dental school, in which, man, precision, the year of the days back in mythology, you had to be a ninja as an operator back then. I mean, you'd have to go in, equilibrate. It really was incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
Right? To prep a gold inlay and to do it the right way, just gold work. That took or pinlets. Remember those
gold foil?
Those were like the true ninjas of clinical dentistry.
Yeah.
Today, you're prepping, you're scanning, and you can see your prep. And right there, you can go back and correct. So I think the toys and technology do help to get our dentistry up to a higher speed.
Yeah.
Having said that, there's an additional cost to all these toys, which in many ways don't make things simpler for that struggling young clinician.
All right, so let's ask you. You're about the toy. So I'm a new dentist coming out. Is the toy worth it?
That's the thing that we've been trying to solve a problem with, the idea of providing outsourcing solutions and services, because I believe it's impossible for you to do the dentistry we showed today, the idea, the vision that we see, the ideal digital clinic in 5 years. This idea is impossible to do it by yourself unless you own a chain of clinics, and then you have a team of people working for you to provide this to all the clinics that you own. So we need more centers providing this kind of support for dentists, so they can incorporate this technology without having to invest or buy or learn the technology. But this is just the beginning. In the future, maybe every big lab will become a smile design, treatment planning, 3D center, providing information for a young clinician that will pay per case, and will be immediately being able to tell the patient that he's using the highest technology available. Until today, every single dentist that has been trying to incorporate technology has to invest himself and spend a lot of time trying to manage or hire people to manage this information. And this is not feasible at all. That's why most of the people that show digital on lectures still today, they show that one case that they did digital. Some people don't mention that that was the only one case. They kind of pretend that they do that all the time, but that's not a reality. It's
or
impossible.
they don't mention that the company gave them this.
Or yeah, they gave the scanner, or they were sponsored by the company. So that's not our fault. It's the fault of the companies that didn't visualize the
companies
workflow.
want to sell, right?
Yeah, they just want to sell.
Companies
So
will do anything to sell.
convinced that we can buy all these
And the
things
dentists are the
and
best
pay for it.
buyers.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We buy anything they want to sell to us. Right? So
So this vision. That's why corporations will grow so much, because they will create the marketing strategies. They have the volume,
business model.
They have the business model. For them to invest on a full digital workflow will be very simple. So this will bring their quality up, because today, every single high-end dentist here looks at corporate dentistry almost like a joke. It's like cheap, bad, cheesy marketing, low quality, volume. So we don't feel threatened. But this is going to change, because the names and the brands that we see in corporate dentistry here are not the ones that will take over high-end dentistry in 5 years, and they will. New brands will come up. The companies are waking up. Business people are understanding the potential of dentistry. They're understanding how to do marketing properly.
Amazon is now going to be selling products very soon.
Imagine how much money. Say, no, I want to have the coolest brand with the coolest young doctors, with the coolest facility, with the coolest social media and the coolest technology they will have. And this will bring their quality up, will kill the dentists that are not super exclusive or super high-end, and will make young dentists have to choose in between either I'm going to be the best and completely different, or I'm going to have to work for one of these corporations.
Sure. But again, if you were to single out the two potential business models, you have corporate on the one hand, on the other hand you have the mom and pop shop. That dentist that build his way little by little. And Frank Spear talks about the different stages in which you're in a survival stage, and you start being profitable, and you start building up till you go to a point in which you have the practice of your dreams. You're still within that format of the mom and pop shop,
Right.
okay? And you go through the hoops until you finally learn, okay, now I can make some money with this and that, and I start buying toys and whatnot. But going back to that young clinician who just graduated, that person is torn between, oh my God, should I go here or should I go here?
Yeah. Now I want to piggyback on that, because you used the magical word. It's called choice, and I love the concept. You got to choose to choose. You said dentists are going to have to choose, and you're also mentioning that you guys are world-class educators. You authentically speak all over the world. When you speak, what are you hoping dentists choose? And if we have a lot of young dental students that watch this, they may not have seen. What are you hoping every time you speak that dentists choose for the future?
I don't think that's right or wrong, or both options can be great. I think that as corporations take over a big piece of our business, they will need very important people running their business, or being part of this corporate. It's like any corporation, It's like going back to the car industry 100 years ago. We're probably the same situation. You had a few guys doing handmade cars, and then suddenly technology came and was the same challenge that we're facing now. And nowadays, it's no-brainer. You can become an engineer and work for BMW and have an amazing career. Today, working for corporations in dentistry is bad, because you don't make that much money. It's seen as something cheap, as low quality, but that's going to change. You can build an amazing career with the future modern companies that will run hundreds and thousands of clinics all over the world. You can be managing suddenly 10, 20, 30 clinics, running an interdisciplinary team, doing high-end dentistry. You're going to have all kinds of change.
So I was with you till you said doing high-end dentistry. So the model has to change
Definitely.
where instead of just bringing the dentist in and using them,
Yep.
they have to grow them.
Right.
So that's the biggest change.
But it's the business person working for BMW, you know.
Yeah. So you can't just
I agree.
bring them in and use them as a
Yep.
tool.
Like it is right
you
now.
Have to see, you have to make an investment in them.
Exactly.
And
So
if they change that, then they
Exactly.
could do that.
Totally
Your
agree.
question was for the three of us, as educators, what we'd like to happen. And I can tell you, for a second, let's stop thinking that I'm an educator, but I've been to both these guys' courses over the years, which I have. And what you can clearly see is that as educators, the one thing that gets us to be educators is that we are the ones that learn the most continuously. And so that's what we'd like to see. We'd like to see, perpetual students. We'd like to instill the need for that young crowd to say, okay, it's not that I took that 2-day course or 2-day seminar or workshop, is that I need to be committed to continuous education.
Right.
Because what we do, and again, I mean, if you count the amount of hours that we've been in the podium, the three of us, I mean, it would be an insane number. The different latitudes where we've lectured. I mean, and yet, the dentist that's sitting in that audience is the same. And what we for sure would want is, I mean, it's next to impossible to sit through a course of a 1-day or a 2-day course with Jeff, and you can pick on his brain as much as you want, but he is a perpetual student. He's done such a tremendous effort and commitment to have the knowledge that he has right now. And so you hear him talk, and what we aspire to is to plant the seed to that person in front and say, yeah, you know what? This makes sense. This is really cool. The only way that I will aspire to be better is do what he's doing. Keep on learning. You agree?
But I
You
agree.
Jeff?
But I think there's one more factor. When you make the decision as a young dentist today that you want to have your own office, you need to understand that you're competing with BMW. So it's like coming out of the engineering college, say, I don't want to work for BMW, I want to open my own company up to build cars. Meaning you cannot just be an amazing car builder, you have to be a businessman.
Right.
You have to have the vision, and you have to have the guts and the ambition to create a new business. Like until recently, you could run a healthy, financially healthy office without that ambition and then without that know-how. Just being a good dentist was enough, having some kind of charisma and treating people well and doing good work.
Being a good clinician, have a good training, that's
it.
That meant you'd be good.
And in the near future, I don't think it's going to be enough, So you need to have that decision. Am I ambitious enough to get into the market and open my own business, in my own dental business? Because it's not going to be the office anymore. It's going to be a dental business.
As I now see you holding your iPhone, I'm just thinking, this new dentist of today, the Instagram dentist, there's something challenging and yet something that worries me.
Okay.
Because again, out of fear or out of how challenged he or she feels because of debt, because of growing in practice. I mean, Instagram has become an amazing, or social media has become an amazing means of PR and marketing, and we see a lot. I'm not saying that everything, but we see a lot of crappy dentistry in social media.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the red flags of technology, and something that also the young clinician is facing, and they see it kind of like an easy way out, or something like they're doing it, man, I better do it too because that's the way to go. And so then, you're torn because you don't want to be. One of my best friends in life and in dentistry at some point was called the best kept secret in the Northwest. One of the best dentists, but he was a quote unquote best kept secret. And that
not a good business model.
no,
not at all.
You know what? The guy that approached him in an airport, he meant it as a compliment. That's far from a compliment. Right. So again, you have on the one hand, the Instagrammers that are there posting pictures and now becoming like self-proclaimed gurus,
Right.
Versus those that are.
All right. But I've been around long enough that happened in the 90s with the ceramic craze of the 90s. And companies built up personalities, and those eventually people figure out those personalities are just pictures on a magazine rather than reality. So
But
hopefully
people inside the dental industry or people, the final consumer?
I would suggest the final consumer, but because we were talking about Yelp reviews and stuff today. Now the final consumer has a lot more power.
You bet. You bet.
So there were periods of time where those people that the faces of that period of time were doing dentistry that was failing at a pretty high rate, and yet you wouldn't hear about that except for the hushed voices in dentistry. And now you're going to hear it on
That's
Yelp,
a good thing about
Google.
social media.
Sorry, I gotta interrupt. My car is there. I gotta leave.
Thank you, Kurt.
I enjoyed this. I'm leaving you with the best here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ricardo.
Catch you next time.
You got it. Scoot over one, Jeff, if you don't mind.
All right.
I want you guys to finish your thought, though, because it's a really, really good thought.
I'll catch up with in Instagram now or in Facebook.
Just follow us.
There you go.
Follow us as you drive to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think social media or the internet allows people to really seek for the information. Giving, like we had the lecture today of the guy speaking about people giving reports about the feedback and nowadays if you don't please people, you're gonna be online not with a bad reputation, and because every single young person, before they make any decision, they Google, they see the comments of people, and that is guiding them to make decisions.
So in San Antonio, there was a dentist a lady was displeased with his dentistry, and she posted pictures of her teeth on her car.
Oh, you're kidding.
And wrote on her car all of his information and all the rest, like you would do like a homecoming game in football, right? She wrote but she wrote his name and how bad a dentist he, and she for 1 year drove around town. Yelp and Google
like a
have
billboard,
become that.
like a billboard.
It's instant, right? She had to do it for a year.
But you know what I see nowadays, for us, even for my generation, is very aggressive. You feel like you're destroyed, somebody's killing your reputation. Younger people, since they were born on this world, they have a filter.
Yes.
If they see something, a super solid comment destroying you online, they don't go for it like 100% because they know how it works.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of a protection because the amount of people saying things that aren't true, and they learn with that.
All right, but with that in mind, the people that you typically want in your practice are my age. Because
And why do you say that?
Because
Money.
their teeth are worn down.
Uh-huh.
They have more money.
They have more money. They have a desire to look younger. That everything that you were talking about today comes with 55-year-old people,
Yes.
not with 25-year-old people.
That's true.
So the filter of a 55-year-old is not the same.
Yeah, I agree.
If I'm looking for a restaurant tonight and I get one bad review, I'm like, I might not trust that.
Right.
Threw up all night. No, I'm not going to go there. So
No, the reviews are very strong. That's why.
if they use them, obviously.
Well,
but-
and word of mouth has become word of thumb now.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think it comes down to this. Any restaurant knows this. We've got to be more. We've got to commit to being excellent because that's all going to come out in the wash. A dentist
But there's
that has
something more important than being excellent.
Tell us more.
It's creating relationships.
Absolutely.
You have average dentists that are amazing creating relationships. They have 0 bad reviews.
Right.
You have amazing dentists with bad reviews because they are not good being nice to people.
Right. The trust factor.
Yeah.
which I think. So you were talking about corporate dentistry, figuring out the piece lacking in corporate dentistry is relationships.
I agree.
So
Nowadays, they're gonna have to find a solution for that.
Yeah.
As you said,
They gotta
bringing
educate.
good people and making them feel like they own that thing.
Right.
So
like having a career.
like Publix, what is owned by, it's a grocery store owned by all the people that work there. So maybe it's that the dentists become the
Definitely,
corporation.
you're gonna have corporations going that way for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like any industry, you know. The modern principles of running healthy companies like Google runs,
Right.
you know, like Google treats their employees. They're not even called like employees, you know, associates. All these modern business people will come to dentistry,
Right.
and they will run their businesses with the same level, and they will have great results. So it's not going to be something bad, you know. It's going to be something good.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with all the advancements in technology, we still have a strong human element, which is we want to do business with people that we trust and like, and the relationship component will always be there.
And with that said, I still think there's a place for the person that doesn't want that.
Oh, for sure.
I think, and in fact, people ask me all the time about, aren't you worried that this new dental, and I honestly don't even know. If you ask me, is there a
You
dental
shouldn't be
clinic
worried.
down the street?
Right.
You know, is there a Monarch or Aspen or whatever it is? I honestly have no idea.
Right.
Because I'm in my own little world, and
Yeah,
I'm
I-
going to treat the patients that want what I can offer them.
Yeah.
It's the top. It's the boutique hotel, own family business, no franchise. It's one hotel that is not afraid of Four Seasons. You know, because they have the experience. They treat people in a different way. They charge more, and people want to be there. They have the quality, and they are organized in a way that they can compete. You know, so always we'll have room for that. But you need to be prepared to be that. You
Yeah.
know? You cannot be
no.
average.
No,
You cannot
and
be
so
average.
That's the hard part
Yeah.
with the young
No.
dentists coming out. More than I guess my bias would be that they would have to have advanced training that puts them a little bit further down the road rather than trying to catch up.
Right.
So residency would
Yeah.
make sense, and
Well-
then getting in with a really
Yep.
good mentor
Yep.
to
Yep.
guide them.
And
It's a
everything is a
process.
matter of perspective. So I love what you guys have said, because he always used to say, look, the thing you got to remember is that it's not the top that's crowded. It's the bottom that's
Yes.
crowded. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of room
Yes.
up here for dentists to be
And
better.
once you step up to the top, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You can create your future. You can translate your vision into reality. If you're at the top, you make it happen.
Yeah.
But you have to get there, until you have to understand if you really want to be there, because there's a price. Less time with the family, more meetings that you have to go, a lot of mentoring and studying overnight and all this stuff, and preparing yourself from the business perspective, understanding the marketing. Really, if you are willing, if you have the ambition to do that, and you have the passion, and you love what you do, so it sounds simple, but it's not.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's a pretty bright guy.
I agree. No, and you just you can't be afraid of hard work, right?
No.
Exactly.
So I agree. I used to say I would devote, half my time to my business, half my time to the lab work, half my time to this, half my time. I ran out of half times pretty quick.
Oh man, I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking.
Awesome.
But what I'm saying is that there's no perfect formula for happiness. You know, you can tell yourself when you're young, I'm gonna have the best clinic, I'm gonna be at the top, and you can end up unhappy. You know, and you can be working for a corporation, doing average dentistry, having other little investments here and there, succeeding financially as an employee, and being super happy, saving money, and then traveling the world. So there's no formula.
Yeah.
There's no formula.
That's the funny thing. That's actually, I hate to say it, that's the flaw in your program, is that everyone you interview isn't average.
No,
Yeah,
Everyone you
that's-
interview.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Is at the other end of the extreme where
Right.
I mean, what you were just saying about, just going to work and getting a paycheck and investing and doing that has no appeal to me at all.
The people over here, yeah, exactly.
It's
Me
like,
neither.
I
I respect
it would kill
that.
me.
And I have friends that are like that, and in certain moments, they are healthier mentally and physically
Right.
than me.
Right.
You know, and personally, we all go through a lot. You know, and to be where we are, oh my God, you know,
Yeah.
there's a huge prize.
Right.
But I could never do anything else.
Right.
So
I
every one of us that you interview, the key word is we're competitive.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah, exactly.
never want to be
It's-
second.
Yes.
Never.
And if there's a guy on the stage that's
Exactly.
doing something that's better than I am,
And
well,
and,
I've
and
gotta-
we
I'm
think
gonna
that
fix
everybody's
that.
like us, and we think
Yeah.
that we need to teach that to everybody.
Yeah.
And there's-
So you were asking, what do you want to teach? And you can't teach
Yeah.
that innate competitiveness.
Yeah.
And so we're all killing ourselves trying to go, you need to be like me. And there's something. So if a dentist is out there and feels that inner competitiveness of I want to be the best,
Just go
all
for
this
it.
stuff absolutely is attainable, and there are lots of people that want to help you do it.
Yeah.
If you don't, then that's fine.
Create a strategy
Yeah.
Yeah,
for that.
just
Yeah.
find a way to be happy, to create a happiness. But realize dentistry has lots of different ways to make you happy.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the way the guys on the stage are showing you.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Well, I think it goes back to what you said before. I mean, everything's a choice. You could choose to take this path. The word shade, shape, translucency, margin, those mean different things to you than just the average dentist. You carry about this body of work. And so making the choices as dentists, you just got to put yourself in the right places. And that's why we're here hanging out for a week, surrounding ourselves, immersing ourselves. I mean, this is stressful in some respects. I mean, you're seeing some of the best dentistry in the world. And you watch some of these presentations, your first thought is
And you're
exactly
like,
what you said.
"Damn,
gotta
I
up
have
my
to do
game.
better."
That is really good, Like, that is amazing, So, a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I either have to learn how to do it better, or I just take a picture of Christian's stuff.
Vice versa. Vice versa.
There you go.
And that's the final lesson.
There you go.
You can learn from people like his team, him and Bill, like one thing:
Yeah.
stay humble.
Stay humble. Serves you well. You heard it from the experts. These are the guys. Seattle Study Club Symposium 25th anniversary. If you're not here, my first question is why not? You need to be here. You get to hang out with cool people like this. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
You
Such
need a final
pleasure.
sip. You need a final sip. Yes.
You're going to hear plenty more from these guys and a lot of other incredible clinicians and educators. Thank you guys so much for your time, your expertise, and most of all, your willingness to give back. That's what makes you guys the best.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you guys for watching the Best Practice Show. Keep watching. If you enjoyed this, do me a huge favor. Just hit the share button, share this with your friends, and we will see you next time on the Best Practice Show. Keep watching.